Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. You are in the only place to get what we give. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. You can't find two siblings, a brother and a sister, talking about baseball the way that we talk about baseball.
That's right. You won't find it anywhere.
This is the most unique podcast out there based on what we do.
That's right.
So we hope you're ready for baseball talk. We've got a lot to talk about as far as baseball goes. Dodgers, Angels, and then, which has become a weekly thing now, Jana's Fashion Corner. As Fashion Fever, right here on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. You can find us online at our website, siblingrivalrybb.com, where you can head over to either of the Fanatics links. We have two of them on there, one for the Dodgers, one for the Angels, but you can find any of your favorite gear through that link. For you, for gifts to somebody, we're also on Twitter, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
If you've been paying attention to the Angels lately, you'll see that there's been some bright spots. But you'll also find that there's already rumblings. There's always rumblings about Artie. There's always rumblings about Perry. But now people are starting to think Ron Washington wasn't the right guy. We'll have to see. And honestly, we'll talk more about that next week when we talk about the Angels and St. Louis. This week, we're going to just have the one series because we were all caught up going in here. It's my favorite kind of series, a 4-game series, which I seem to think everybody needs to play. They were hosting in the Kansas City Royals. The Royals come in to this game or to this series with a pretty decent record compared to where they'd been. They were 22-16. Not like, in the previous years where they were battling for the bottom of the Central Division. They're actually working hard, and some of these young players like Bobby Witt Jr. are starting to come around and really show why everybody was so excited about him. And Salvador Perez, the old wily catching veteran, has been leading the way. Lots to look at. Some good times for the Angels, some not so good times. Game 1 really pretty much looks like a not so good time for the Angels. They dropped the opener, Michael Wacha, on the hill for Kansas City, a guy that they got in the offseason. He has really helped elevate the pitching staff there. He and Seth Lugo have both been doing a good job, both coming out of San Diego last year and ending up in Kansas City. Wacha would go 6, only give up 3 runs of the 4 that the Angels would score. Angels had Reed Detmers on the hill, and Reed, by his own admission, is having issues with location. The right pitches were being thrown, but they were in the wrong spot, obviously.
Yeah, gave up 2 home runs in this game.
Only struck out 5. He had been, averaging more than that, 7, 8, 10, 12 per game. And then now gives up 6 of the 10 runs. The bullpen falls apart. Of course, once Jose Suarez comes in, I would think it's batting practice time. Angels couldn't do a whole lot. The runs scored, no extra base hits that I can see. Nolan Shanuel, he's steadily improving and keeps getting the bat on the ball. But other than him, 5 total hits on the day. But yeah, it just not anything really good happening. On the other hand, Bobby Witt Jr., 0 for 4. So it wasn't like he did something, but he didn't have to. One of our favorite baseball names, Vinny Pasquantino. He was 2 for 4 in the game, 3 RBIs. Michael Garcia, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs. They really put up there some great defense during the series by former Angel Hunter Renfroe. It was kind of funny because we're going to talk Dodgers and Padres. I was watching Angels Royals, Hunter's playing there. Then they talk about in his rookie season when he played with the Padres, hitting a home run against the Dodgers that like went way up high off of the Western Metal Building or whatever that is out there.
Yeah.
And I saw that game. I always remember that home run. That was an impactful home run. Watching, thinking, wow, if he's going to hit like that, these guys are going to be trouble. Well, he didn't, and they weren't. But anyway, dropped that first one, but that's okay. They still had 3 more to go. Game number 2, same result. They still got the L, but it wasn't as bad when you look at it from the scoring standpoint. They lost 2-1. Great outing by Griffin Cannon, going 4 2/3. 3 strikeouts, didn't give up a run, only gave up 3 hits on that. It was actually Carlos Estevez, who has blown 1/3 of his save opportunities this year. Gave up the 2 runs that would cost them the game.
Yeah, Joe Adell had a home run in this game, and for a while there, it was all Angels, the 1 home run in the 5th inning. But then Estevez came in to save the game and gave up a home run.
A couple guys that I want to mention have shown up. And next week when we talk, one of these 2 guys is going to play big. When we talk about something that happened during the St. Louis series, just as earlier this week. Luis Guillorme has shown up and is now part of the Angels. He was released by his team. I think he was with the Braves. They actually ended up, they DFA'd him. He ends up being traded for cash or a player to be named later with the Angels. And then Nico Goodrum, who I have to wonder about this. Do you want to pick up a guy who was released by the Chicago White Sox?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Anyway, he picked up and he got some playing time as well. So we may be talking about those guys as we go, but for now, nothing really big to talk about. Some doubles, and like you mentioned, Joe Adell's home run. The Royals need to win 1 more to win the series. The Angels need to win this one to be able to split it. Game number 3, which was the Saturday evening game, the Angels were able to do just that. 9-3. They take the victory. Good day for the offense. Another home run from Joe Adell. So remember, was it last week I told you I saw an old familiar look on his face?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like maybe that was a short-term thing. He seems to be playing better. I'm still not completely convinced, but he's got to pick it up. There's nobody else.
Right. Yeah.
Really.
He's there. He's got to do it.
So Joe Adell drives in 3 of the 9 runs. Kevin Pillar with a triple and drives in 3 runs as well on a 3 for 4 day for him. Another guy that, picked up out of necessity with all of the injuries and everything. Good that he is able and, shifted around out there in the outfield, played, started center field, went to left field. He's doing what he has to do out there. And then, who's been kind of a surprise? Cole Tucker.
Oh yeah,
he's been consistent since he's been with the Angels. 1 for 3 in this game, and he's contributing as the best he can. And that Joe Adell home run was the 7th of the season. So, can the Angels split the series, or are the Angels going to drop the series to Kansas City? Sunday afternoon, nice day for a game. You got Seth Lugo on the hill for the Royals, Patrick Sandoval on the hill for the Angels. Patrick Sandoval had been looking up, but he's been kind of tough on himself lately, saying, hey, I got to do better. I have to do this and that. It's like, okay, well, we're with you. You do have to do better, but you need to start doing it sooner than later here, buddy. Sandoval goes 6 innings, which is good, but gives up 11 hits and 4 runs. No walks, though. That's a good thing. Does only strike out 3, but didn't give up any home runs. So he takes the L. Seth Lugo will get the W there, going 8 innings giving up just 1 run, striking out 12. That's kind of hard to overcome
Yeah.
when you strike out 12 times. I'm sure San Diego's looking at it going, man, maybe we wish we still kept him.
Yeah.
Willie Calhoun continues to impress as well. We talked about him. He was 3 for 4. He's batting over 300. And in that, he had a home run, which was his first of the season. He also had a double. And the 2 RBIs are attributed to him. Other than that, if he had as many hits as the rest of the lineup, Ohapi, Moniak, and Guillorme all with a hit, and that would be it. So the Angels end up dropping that series 4-2, or dropping the series with a 4-2 loss in that last game. Couple of errors. I'm thinking Ron Washington's probably thinking, I'm just going to start watching these games from the clubhouse.
Right.
He's sitting there. He just got that, you always see if there's frustration in a manager's face, it's usually because a call was bad, or he's always backing up his players. Washington's kind of at a point where he doesn't feel like he wants to back up the players anymore. It's like, I made this call. He looked okay here, or they looked okay there. He'll give credit when credit's due, but you can just see him in the dugout shaking his head. We've talked about this before. There's a lot of pressure on Wash. A lot of pressure on the players to have a winning season. And there's mistakes being made. On that Sunday game, there was a hit out to right field. Adele comes in, just kind of basic, it's a single. I'm going to take it, leisurely throw it back in.
Yeah.
The runner and the base coach for the third base coach for the Royals saw that, sent the runner, and then he was like, oh shoot, I got to do this. Nobody else was in place then. Ohapi was up the line far enough that even when he got the ball, he couldn't get back to make a tag. Nobody was ready for that. And it's those little lackadaisical things. Neto, Zach has been making errors or just bad mental mistakes, and it's costing them games, not just a run here or there. And the other thing that I've noticed with the Angels has been that, and we can compare this, I was actually comparing it with Blanca last night, is that the Dodgers bullpen can give up some runs, but their offense is capable of getting them back and keeping them in the game. The Angels don't really have that same capability. Their bullpen's not as good as other teams' bullpens, but even if they only give up a couple of runs, they can't seem to make up for it. They can't generate any more offense. And I don't know how much of that is the players just not knowing how to do it. If it's, once again, coaching staff issues that we've seen for years.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give them all the benefit of the doubt coming in because we've seen guys who have been successful in other places. What makes me wonder, is it because it's Anaheim and the upper management prevents you from being successful? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a good point because Ron Washington is out on the field. He's not a passive manager. He's out there working with the players, and they're still making, those types of mistakes. They are a young team, which we know, but we're drafted and are Major League Baseball players. So when do you stop making little league mistakes? And I wonder what the relationship is with Washington and the front office. Is he being, are things maybe that he would like to do? Is he being stifled? Is he not able to do things? I'm curious about Kevin Pillar because when he came in last week, we talked about a game in Pittsburgh when the Angels won. And he was 3 for 5. He had 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, he had a double. Obviously, you're not going to have a game like that every night.
Right.
But then he's not being played as much. But then he comes in the Royals game when they won 9-3. And he's 3 for 4, has a double, has 3 RBIs. But then the next night, he doesn't play the next game. And I'm like, why are you not putting him every day? He should be every day. And set some of these younger guys who aren't producing, let Pillar play and see what kind of, is he going to continue those type of results? Because I think a lot of times too, that when you see other players, your teammates hitting, you want to emulate, you want to do that. You want to continue to keep it rolling. And I don't think that they're giving Pilar the runway he needs.
Hey, don't be throwing Dodger metaphors over here.
Oh, sorry. We're in the Angels
I
segment.
think some of it too is that they're trying to get lefty matchups, righty matchups.
I get that.
Like Moniak, some at bats, so he's
Sure.
out there. But you're right. How do you reward me for a great game last night? Give me the day off.
Yeah.
No, let me get hot. Let me do something. You have to ride the streak, whatever it is. Luckily for them, every time they put him in there, for the most part of the games that he's played, he's stepped up and done well. Same thing with Cole Tucker. He's a veteran presence, really.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of the other ones. He's been out there hustling. He's been making the plays. The question of, is it Washington? Is it the front office on him about stuff? What's going on there? I also wonder, too, is the fact that Ray Montgomery, who was the bench coach under Joe Madden, Phil Nevin, and he was pretty much forced upon Washington because that's Washington want him.
Yeah.
He had somebody else. I wonder if having him there is kind of having the same effect that he had in other places. It's still Perry's guy, kind of inside.
Yeah, the inside guy, the spy, I don't know how to, but yeah, why, if you're going to hire a new manager, let that manager pick his coaching staff. Who does he work well with? Who does he want in these different positions, I think, or in these different spots? I think that you owe that to the manager, especially someone like Ron Washington, who, has a lot of experience. Why don't shouldn't the manager be happy?
I would think, and he needs to be able to do what he does. You didn't hire Ron Washington or Joe Madden, for that fact, to control them.
Right.
But see, the one thing that's different between Madden and Washington, Madden was not, that was, what's his name? Billy Epler's hire.
Mm-hmm.
And so Perry was stuck with him at the beginning. But I don't think Perry came in like, I'm the general manager. This is going to be my team. I'm going to make it that way. So you're either going to submit to my way or you're going to go get a red mohawk and be fired before anybody can see it.
Yeah, I think all the ire should be directed at Perry. I don't think it's too early for fans to be disgruntled with Ron Washington, because I think Ron Washington is disgruntled.
I think he is too.
And I think you may get to a point where he just says, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this. I'll go back and do something else, or who knows if he would do it, but he could he could resign
for this.
Exactly. And I'm sure that they would welcome him back to Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, he's old school, and he is, I think, has the players' interest at heart. He wants his players to do well. I don't think he minds that his team is a young team, but I also think it's good that because it's not the first time where he's called out a player and said, hey, I think Joe Adell, base running, just comes to mind. A
couple of times, yeah.
And so I think that the fans need to allow him to manage, and really you need a new general manager and obviously a new owner. And that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Not the owner, but the general manager, maybe.
Maybe.
Look at, I think all you got to do is look at what happened in the offseason. Yes, the bullpen needed better arms, but the bullpen didn't get better arms. Probably the one player, as far as some of the pitchers that he signed, that's been a surprise, Jose Soriano, who's had some great outings and then just bad luck.
Right.
Not from his pitching, but from the team, what the team could do, or the bullpen let him down. But the bullpen, he spent so much time building that bullpen for the most part. And they're not, you get something here or there. Aaron Simber has been good, but he's had a couple of down games. But overall, he's been, one of the more consistent ones. But for the most part, a lot of these guys, Suarez is just, I think it's just because there's no place to send him.
Right.
You can't send him down. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody wants to trade for him,
Mm-hmm.
or what they're willing to trade isn't going to help.
Right.
So they're not willing to do that. But you got to remember, in a trade, sure, we want our team to get we want you to be able to trade Suarez, say, to like San Diego for Yu Darvish, or
Right.
Suarez to the Yankees for Garrett Cole. That's what we want. That's not what we're ever going to get.
No.
I mean, thinking about pitchers and trades, they don't look at it well. Look at what San Diego did. They got arguably he may not get 700 million, but he's going to get awful close, at least 500 in Juan Soto, especially if his season continues the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres got a pitcher who we're going to talk about. He figures in big in this in the next segment. So, somewhere Perry doesn't have an eye for talent.
Well, right. And I don't think that he really has an eye for baseball. I mean, just doesn't.
Not unless he's picking it up off the floor of the visiting clubhouse.
Right. I mean, he's not a success story. He's not from the clubhouse to the front office. It's
right.
Not, no one's making a movie about him. And
he's not going to be some kind of a feel-good story out of all of this stuff.
No, because he doesn't. I really don't.
Cautionary tale.
Exactly. I just think that he kind of fell in. He was at the right place, kind of at the right time. That's how he has continued to be in the baseball world. He's
longevity. A lot of times up. And then think about it. Many of the players that he picks are him. They've got some sort of talent that they've been able to hang around in the game or get to where they're at. But it's almost like, going to hang out with or you're going to give the chance to the guys that nobody will, the underdog squad. Well, these guys aren't even underdogs. These guys are guys who are guys that may someday make it. There's a diamond in the rough maybe, but for the most part, these are guys that are going to end up, being MLB test dummies in the independent league. There's just something, guys. What I wonder a lot of times is some of these pitchers, Sandoval, Canning, Detmers, they had a couple of seasons ago. They all had pretty good seasons. Last season was abomination for all the pitchers, just about.
Right.
And then now some of them are looking better, but I wonder if they were on another team, what would they look like? If Patrick Sandoval was a Dodger or a Brave. The Braves have always had great pitching.
Right. Yeah.
And Griffin Canning and Reed Detmers and those guys, even Tyler Anderson. These are guys that have had bright spots. You can see when they pitch that there are moments of a spark, but it's just not coming through consistently enough. The thing that I'm sure of now, more than ever, it doesn't matter who. They'd have picked up the last 5 Cy Young Award winners, or at any time, look over, say, a 3-year period, who were the top 3 pitchers, and had a rotation of those 5 guys. Even then, I can't guarantee that they would be a winning team, and that's the sad part about it. All right, so the Angels kick on the other Missouri team. They finish that up actually last night playing St. Louis, and then they hit the road to take the Rangers on before they head to Houston. So they had Missouri back-to-back and then Texas back-to-back before they head back home. Player of the week?
I went with Kevin Pillar.
I did too.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we need to start a campaign for Kevin Pillar. He's scrappy and he wants to play. And he's out there playing, and he needs to be. We don't need Ron Washington to put everybody's name, on slips of paper and toss it in a hat onto his bed, and then he picks the lineup. I think Kevin Pillar needs to be in there every day and let him continue to get reps and hits and see where it goes. Now, if he falls off, or then you move somebody else in there.
You ride the streak, ride them
Ride
while
it.
they're hot. Him and
Yeah.
Calhoun
Yes.
need to be in there often. Yeah, I mean, he played in 4 games. So if I look back at the week was Pittsburgh and Kansas City. He played in 4 of those 7 games, and 467 batting average on the week. Had 9 RBIs, 2 home runs, a triple, a double, 7 base hits, or 7 hits. I'm sorry, 7 hits total of 15 at bats. So scored 5 runs, on base percentage of 467. So he was on base a lot. So it's just OPS of 1533 on the week. He had a great week.
Yeah.
That's player of the week stats.
Those
and he didn't even play full time.
Exactly. So I put, Kevin, give him more playing time, Pilar.
Hashtag give him more playing time, for sure. I'm with you there. And then if he falls apart and falters, then you bring Mickey back in.
That's right.
Or you do whatever, but you got to give him more of a chance to play, because he's in there. And the first couple of times I'm like, wait, who's that guy? And then I remembered, oh, that's Kevin Pillar.
Yeah.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
As is normal, the Dodgers hit the road when the Angels come home. That's pretty standard practice for any area where there's 2 teams close by. It happens up in the Bay Area with the A's and the Giants. I wonder if they're going to do that when the A's move to Sacramento, if they're going to care.
Yeah, it's going to be what? It's like Sacramento's like an hour and a half or so.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It's not going to be a big deal.
Anyway, so the Dodgers, last week we talked about what they did over 3 series with the D-backs and the Bees, the Braves, and the Marlins at home. And we talked about those series. Dodgers hit the road, but don't go far. They head south to San Diego. I was listening to Sports Talk Radio yesterday, and they were talking about, because the Dodgers go to San Diego, and then next week we'll talk about their series in San Francisco. They were talking about, you always expect this in San Diego. San Diego is about a 2-hour drive from the main parts of LA, give or take. So there's always a lot of Dodger fans down there. And in fact, Shohei was asked about it, and he said, oh, they've got some great fans. They really cheer for their team, but there's a lot of Dodger fans. He goes, it's kind of hard to tell who's the home team because there were so many Dodger fans. I watched, some of those games versus the Giants, and I heard it, and I was like, there are more Dodger fans at a Giants-Dodgers game than Giants fans. When did that happen? And I heard him talking about it on the radio, how they felt
I'm a Dodgers fan at a Giants game.
I'm at a combination Dodgers and Giants game.
And they're not singing they're not chanting beat LA.
No, and they're not doing anything, and they're getting out cheered.
Yeah.
Well, let's go Dodgers was louder than anything else. And I didn't really catch all that. Some of the time that I was watching one of the games, I had it on mute and was just watching the game and doing something else, listening to something else. And, it's crazy. So, like we're talking about, though, the Dodgers head south to take on their rivals, the Padres. And I have a kind of a theory. Once we get done, we can talk about reactions to things. And I can tell you my thought process. I think when I kind of texted you about that a little bit, you were kind of maybe thinking the same thing, based on something you had texted me, a stat you had texted me. So, Friday night, I think the Friday night game was a heavier Padre fan presence.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a heavier fan presence for the Padres. The Dodger fans did help the Padres have a milestone that they have not had yet, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the first game, a lot of Padre fans, obviously Dodger fans. Now we know in the past, I think they did this during the postseason. they were limiting tickets based on area code. And if you had an LA area code, you probably weren't going to get tickets.
Zip code.
Was it zip code? Okay. I was thinking
well,
area code.
You know
but
what?
yeah,
Area
zip code.
It used to be that would be a good indicator.
Yeah, but now
with
it doesn't
cell
matter.
phones,
Right.
you can have
That's
have
true.
any, I can call right now and change my number to one of my other favorite cities, New Orleans. I could have a 504.
You could.
And
Yeah. I forgot.
still
I
live
didn't
here.
think about that.
I
I guess
could
I
live
was
in
thinking
LA,
of
not L.A. not
Right.
LA.
I guess I thought of that because of a comment that Dave Roberts made. But yeah, you're right. A zip code. They were looking at the zip codes. So if you had a LA area zip code, you weren't going to get tickets. But in this game, this was really all about pitching in this game. And it was a good matchup. It was a low scoring game. It wasn't until the bottom of the ninth that we got a winner. But pitching, Tyler Glasnow is on the mound. Always feel good about that. But you mentioned, who did the Padres get in return? And they get this guy, and his last name is King.
Michael King.
Michael King. All of a sudden, Michael King. And they are toe to toe. If you look at the stats, at their lines, both go 7 innings. Glasnow gives up 1 hit. King gives up 2. Glasnow gives up 1 run. King gives up no runs. Both Glasnow 2 walks, King 3 walks. Glasnow another 10 strikeout game, double digits there. King 11 strikeouts, and Glasnow gave up a home run. King didn't give up any, but very similar. And so this game was all about pitching. And where the heck did Michael King, where did he come from? What has he been doing?
I don't know. He threw, like you said, they both threw 7 innings. Differences, Michael King threw a few extra pitches, about 7 more. He had 106 on the night when Glasnow only had 99. And I heard that this is, and they say modern era, but modern era they consider like 1900. So
yeah,
124 years ago, in that time frame, no 2 starting pitchers have ever gone 7 innings and both had double-digit strikeouts.
Yeah, this was a true pitcher's duel.
Yeah, finally one that actually lived up to it.
Right.
Sometimes they'll say it was a pitcher's duel, but in the end, when you look at the numbers in comparison, it really wasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, these guys both did well. And really, the issue in this game was, in fact, it broke down almost exactly the same way after the 2 starters came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was the bullpen that allowed the Dodgers back into the game at 1-1. They had, the Padres scored early, like in the 3rd inning, and they made it till the 8th before the Dodgers scored anything. And it was their bullpen that allowed that. Yuki Matsui allowed that and blew the save, giving up 2 hits and a run. And then it was, their third. Both teams only had 3. I mean, this game is so close in so many ways. Third reliever for the Dodgers is the one that gave up the winning run, the walk-off. It was the third reliever for the Padregs who shut the Dodgers down. And kept them out of it. And like I said, the Padres were able to walk it off with just 1 out at that. Michael Grove just is not a high leverage pitcher.
He isn't. And this was, we know that the Padres traded for Luis Ariz from Miami. This was his first home game in San Diego.
And they made him wear the City Connects.
They made him wear the ice cream uniforms.
If I was him.
Or cotton candy, whatever you want to call them.
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony, yeah. But he singled in the pinch runner, and with 1 out, as you mentioned, in the 9th, the this ends. The Dodgers were on a 7-game winning streak, but really it came down to pitcher selection, not pitch selection, pitcher selection. Blake Trinan had come in after Glasnow. He pitched an inning. He had 2 strikeouts, looked good. My thinking is you keep him in. This is a tied game at this point. Let's keep him in. And they don't. Roberts brings in Michael Grove. Michael Grove is not, as you said, a high leverage pitcher. He does not belong in these types of situations.
I'm not even bringing him in, with the trash pandas at that point,
No,
And or I'm at the Tulsa Drillers, but Trash Pandas came to my mind first. But I'm not bringing, even in the minors, I'm not bringing him in that situation unless that's what I'm trying to do, is convert him into a more higher leverage, and then it's just for training purposes. But in this case, no.
That was, I think, the biggest mistake of the game was Michael Grove coming into pitch and giving up a lousy single, and the Padres win the game 2-1. And again, I think I wonder sometimes when I watch Dave Roberts, and this is a complaint that a lot of people have, is his bullpen management is not good.
No, it's below average.
It is. So the Dodgers, great pitch. I mean, a good game, good pitching match, a real pitcher's duel. Dodgers lose this game 2-1. All right, reset, not a big deal. Next night out, Dodger fans help the Padres set a new attendance record. It is the largest attendance record ever at Petco Park. 46,701 fans were there, and the majority of them were Dodgers.
Yeah, you could hear the Dodger fans going. I saw something interesting the other day about attendance throughout the league at that point. So, figure, say Sunday, as of this last Sunday, about that point, we're a month and a half into the season, 1 full month and a half into the season. The Dodgers have already had over 1 million. Their attendance has already hit over 1 million for that time frame. Number 2 in that is the Padregs. So, the Dregs fans are coming out there, and especially when it's the Dodgers coming to town, I'm sure the Dregs fans want to go see that because they know that their team always steps up to play the Dodgers.
Right. Yeah, they do. This time, not a lot of cheering for Padres fans. James Paxton is on the mound. Again, looks good. I mean, we've talked about in the past with how many innings he's going. Looks like he's stuck right at about 6 innings, which seems to be, that's the sweet. It's like, okay, that's where he needs to be. But he gives up 4 hits, no runs, does have 4 strikeouts. I don't think he had any walks in this game, which was, let me check that. Yeah, no walks this time.
No walks. Yeah, no walks.
Which is a huge improvement because he always would have 4 to 5 walks, it seemed like, in the games he pitched. He's also 5-0.
Right. It always feels like he's on shaky ground when he's out there.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's just our past experience. And so we have some sort of, PTSD kind of, thing going on
maybe.
with Paxton, because then we're like worried.
Right. Every time.
He's always, why aren't we that worried with Yamamoto? And Yamamoto starts off shaky almost every game. He settles down and has a great outing. But with Paxton, we're always waiting for a wheel to come off.
It's before
and
it's before he even steps on the mound. It's like, oh, it's Paxton. In this game, Freddie Freeman hit a home run, and then Teoscar Hernandez hits a grand slam, and that's it. It's 5-0. That's the score. Dodger fans are happy and
Dancing in the streets.
dancing in the streets. Sunday's game, not so great. And mainly because Yu Darvish pitches well against the Dodgers. And they could not, he just handcuffed LA. I mean, Mookie was 2 for 4, but Freddie was 0 for 4. The hero of the night from the night before, Teoscar Hernandez, 0 for 4. And there is a difference in this game, though. No Shohei.
Right.
So what, is it a day off? Is it a lower back? Some lower back tightness, I think, is what, just kind of felt. Nothing to be concerned, as they always say, but let's give him the day off, which even though the Dodgers lose, I think it's a good idea for Dave Roberts to make those type of decisions for him, because otherwise he would be out there playing.
Right. And giving him that time off and them being upfront about that is a good thing. Yeah, he had said that in warmups it was tight the day before.
Right.
For Saturday it was tight, but he went ahead and played. But then he comes out early. Didn't he come out early in that Saturday game? Yeah, Kike came in and pinch hit and then took his spot. He comes out and it's like, is there some need to be worried? Next day, he's fine.
Yeah, but
they give him the day off anyway, just to let it set and go. And then he was back in the lineup on Monday.
Right. But I think that's important, because I think a lot of time when he was in Anaheim, he dictated a lot of what he did and he played. And I mean, it's understandable, but I also think that, and I'm not saying like he would say, no, you're putting me in the lineup and that's the way it's going to be. I don't know that's.
I think that's how it was in Anaheim. I'm playing and you just did what he told you to do.
Right.
Because they're trying to find some happy medium with him.
Right.
On that. But I think here, two things. They told him what they needed from him. The other thing is that in Anaheim, if he wasn't in there, you could almost put the L in.
Yeah.
If he's not going to play.
Well,
and they don't need him. He's good to have. You want him, but you don't need him. You've got, especially when you look at Sunday, the first three, Mookie, Freddie, and Will, are all hitting over 300. They're all, everybody's, those four guys with Shohei included are all in the top 10s of almost every offensive category.
Right. Yeah. So, but in this game, they just, again, it was Yu Darvish who just, they could not find they could not hit what he was throwing. Walker Buehler was on the mound for his second start. Not a great outing for Walker at all. He only goes 3 1/3 innings, gives up 5 hits, 3 runs, has 2 walks, only 2 strikeouts, but gives up 2 home runs. The Padres were and they are back-to-back home runs. They just kind of ate him alive on Sunday afternoon. But his second outing after having not pitched for over a year, actually more than a year and a half. So Dodgers lose this series to the Padres. And, it's like, what do you do? It's interesting because they move on to San Francisco, which we'll talk about next week. But this is an interesting stat. So the Padres go from playing LA, having a great series against them. Then they get swept by the Rockies in San Diego. And the Rockies came into that series 12-28. Now, the Rockies had also just before that series swept the reigning World Series champions, the Texas Rangers. But the Padres went 3-for-22 with runners in scoring position in the 3-game series. The Padres record versus the Dodgers this season, remember they played them in Korea. They're 5-3.
Right.
Padres record versus the rest of the MLB, 17-21.
Right.
Very telling. And I think Mookie,
including being swept by the Phillies in that.
yes. Yeah.
I mean, they've got winning records against a couple of different teams, Dodgers, Brewers, Cubs and Reds. But overall, that's the thing. People are like, oh my God, how did we lose to San Diego? San Diego, and then of course people are like, then San Diego, watch out, Dodgers. San Diego's got your number. Yeah, they do. But they only play 5 more times in the rest of the season.
Right.
And they don't see each other again until the end of July for a 2-game set, and then in September. Now in September, those 3 games might mean something.
Right.
These last 3 games didn't mean anything to anybody but San Diego, who thinks that they've created some sort of dominance. But get this, San Diego fans, when you're having your party in the gas lamp, there in downtown, which is right outside the ballpark, and the entertainment area of downtown, look to your right or look to your left, and chances are on either side of you will be a Dodger fan close by, who's out there, trying to get wherever they're going. While you think that you've got some big thing, half of your stadium was filled with Dodger fans. It's not, you're not doing anything until you can take San Francisco 3 years ago, and they came on and beat the Dodgers or pushed them to the very edge in that playoff series when both of them had, when they shouldn't have been playing each other at that point. When you can get to that point, San Diego, and you can sweep them and be ahead of them in the standings, then there'll be something to be worried about. Otherwise, you're just like a gnat at this point. We're just swatting you away, and the Dodgers will go on, to play the Giants. Who knows what will happen there? Because the Giants are a team that get up, and play better against them most of the time because of the decades-long rivalry, century-long rivalry, just about. And then another big rivalry when the Dodgers come back home to play Cincinnati. That was always a rivalry back in the day when they were both in the National League West. Padres, once you get to that point that we're actually worried about not making the playoffs, that you might have something to do with it. Like I said, those last 3 games might come into play, but I doubt it. So just, who cares?
Que sera, sera.
All right, Doris.
One thing that is kind of glaring is, we talked about this last week. I think we need to mention it again. Is what are the Dodgers going to do once Jason Hayward comes back? And it does look like he will start a rehab assignment here in the next week or so. And Chris Taylor not getting a lot of playing time because he, just is not hitting. James Outman, on the other hand, is getting some playing time. They are trying to get him some at-bats, but he's hitting 125. He has 17 strikeouts and 54 plate appearances in the last 4 weeks, and a .091 batting average with 10 strikeouts and 27 plate appearances in the last 2 weeks. So what do you do with James Outman? Do you send him back to Oklahoma City? And my other question is, at the Dodger Gala, he was wearing glasses. Does he wear contacts? And if he doesn't wear contacts, why isn't he wearing contacts? because maybe he needs the glasses to see the ball at the plate.
Maybe.
I don't know what his eyesight's like. Obviously, he can, he's made some great catches, diving catches. He's very good defensively. I like James Outman, but he's got to get a reset. Andy Pages still good defensively and has fallen off a little bit offensively, but still, if I'm going to choose who I'd want in the lineup, if I had to choose between Outman and Pages, I probably would go with Pages.
Yeah, he's been more consistent.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So Dodgers,
yeah, that's something that it's going to be a big question, and I guess the only thing you can do is trust that Friedman's going to make the right move here. Typically he does, but let's hope that he doesn't. If he makes the wrong move, that he realizes it quick enough and corrects it as quickly as he can.
And as much as I hate to say it, Gavin Lux is coming around, kind of coming into his own.
That's which
is good to yeah, which is good to see.
People are coming around to him as well. The guys that are on the Dodgers station and on the local LA Sports Talk are going, Lux is. In fact, somebody called in and said it was time to pull the plug on that experiment and just go with Miguel either at short or second full time, and Mookie at the other.
Right.
And, people are like, really? But it's odd time for this call because he's been really good lately.
Right. Well, and I have heard, because there's always, rumors, and there's always the writers who are like, these are, or is it Jim Bowden? I think that it's always like, oh, this could be the next trade, and I don't remember if it was him, but people like that.
Yeah, he's good like that. Bowden is to do that.
Arenado to the Dodgers, he plays third. Max Muncy moves to second. And then you have Mookie and Rojas at short. And I don't know what you do. I guess Lux becomes a Cardinal.
That's the only thing I could take out of that.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, as much as Arenado is overall the better player, Max is becoming a much better third baseman than he was in the past.
Yeah.
And he saw the writing on the wall. I can't DH. They got Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
They moved, Mookie into the infield. I can't play first base. Freddie's there for a while.
Right.
He and Freddie are about the same age. So
yeah. It's like, what do I got to do to be better? And he really has. And that's the thing with the Dodgers is they are constantly, Max Muncy is one of them, that constantly doing those infield drills. And you can see the work that Max Muncy has put in, because he has had some really good defensive plays, whereas last year, those same plays, maybe he would make one or two, but he would not be in the same position that he's in now with those plays last year.
Sure enough.
So it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do as, like I said, Hayward comes back, because you do have pieces on the bench that they're kind of just at this point dead weight. Chris Taylor. I like Chris Taylor. I've always liked CT3, but something's off there. And what are you going to do? Where are you going to go put him?
Question is would anybody take him? And what could you get back for it? You probably could get maybe a couple of middle minor league kind of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a new place would work. He's just surrounded by so much talent that it's easy to just let him go now.
Yeah.
A couple seasons ago, you didn't want to get away from him, and that him and Kike and when Jock was there, you want to keep them because of, the Dodgers have said, you look at every team, they have somebody who is the an all-around player, who's
Well,
true utility.
well, I
Chris
think it goes
Taylor.
back to, I think it goes back to the stuntmen, and like Mickey Hatcher, those guys that have endured those, they're enduring players for Dodger fans. You always remember those, the stunt, the stunt guys, the stuntmen, because they play those roles. And I was one that when Chris Taylor, I think he was a free agent, and it's like, oh, good, they signed him, or because I didn't want him to go, but now he's just fading into the crowd, and it's unfortunate, but you gotta, what do you do with a player like Chris Taylor? Now I'm thinking of The Sound of Music.
Well, the way you felt about Chris Taylor, that's why they haven't gotten rid of Lux. They still feel like there's something there. That's why they've held on to certain players. Other players, I think, getting rid of certain players early on before you even knew what you had was probably a better move than to think that they made of, Andy Pages could have been, playing in the Angels outfield right now.
True.
Maybe, but we still don't even know what he is. He doesn't have enough of a body of work for us to determine whether or not he really will be an all-star, or a superstar going on. He seems like it, but that doesn't mean, look at when Yasiel Puig came along about the same time Trout did. And you had two exciting players. Of course, Puig was a little more demonstrative and outspoken about things. And Trout, we know, is more low key. But you had these two guys that were both doing stuff. Where's Puig at?
Yeah. Not playing baseball. Well, Trout, not playing baseball in the U.S.
Imagine if Trout hadn't had the issues that he's had.
Right.
Where he might be now. Mm-hmm. Numbers wise. So,
yeah.
All right.
Well, real quick, there were some number changes. Andy Pages went from 84 to 44.
Oh, I
Gavin
noticed that.
Stone went from 71 to 35.
I didn't notice
that. Michael Grove is now 29 instead of 78.
I didn't even notice his number. I just noticed how badly he was pitching. But I did notice Pages' number going to Hank's number.
Yes.
Henry Aaron was 44.
Yep. So, yeah. So those are, something, a little news there. Dodgers, like I said, they are in San Francisco, and then they come home for the weekend. And
4-game set.
That's right, a 4-game set, your favorite. And they will be playing the Reds. They'll be hosting the Reds for 4, and then hosting
the Diamondbacks.
Blackout baseball for me.
Oh, okay. Not for me.
I'm sure there's a way I could probably catch it, but.
And then, like, that seems to be the thread of this season is they keep scheduling. The scheduling this year is like right on top of one another. So the Dodgers will play 4 versus Cincinnati, and that's this coming weekend, starting today, actually. Right. And then next weekend, they'll be in Cincinnati for 3.
Right. Yeah. And
that'll
be it. And then the Dodgers will head to New York, but for their first series there. All right. Do you have anybody for player of the week for the Dodgers?
I do. We talked about him a little bit, just how he has been sneaky good this season. James Paxton is, I'm going to give it to him. Not because he's been overwhelming or anything. I mean, when you look at the one series the one start he had this last week, he pitched before versus Atlanta and was okay. But when you look just at what he did in San Diego, he still had a 3.64 ERA. Oh, sorry, that's not the right information. It dumped out my information. Well, yeah, that was where he's at. He actually
Yeah.
brought his ERA down to 2.58.
Yeah.
And it's he threw 95 pitches over the 6 innings that he threw. He had been right around 5. Then you complained about him, and he went up to 6. And he's been the last 2 starts. He's been 6 or better, and so gotta give him some props for being a solid pitcher. And I think for him it works out that he kind of gets overlooked and forgotten, because Tyler Glass now has been lights out. Yamamoto, everybody's gonna be watching Yamamoto anyway because of the contract he got. And then Gavin Stone, I think, is a believable number 3.
Yeah. And definitely a surprise.
Not knowing what Walker's going to do, how long it's going to take him to get back in there. We're not going to see some of the other guys like Dustin May, I think, is next on the list, or Clayton.
Yeah.
But Clayton's a different animal as far as like what you do with him and how he pitches and what gets moved around. But Dustin May would be the other guy, and I'm not even sure. I've kind of forgotten about him. If hey, come back out if you look good. Let's see what, he'd be okay in like a Phillies uniform, I guess.
Yeah, the red would be okay with this hair. It wouldn't clash. I
think the
guess.
pinstripes that they wear at home is what kind of, I can see him in that.
Yeah.
But
tall, lanky. Sure. Okay. It's funny you mentioned James Paxton as your player of the week. He is also my player of the week. When I look through,
we were unanimous.
And both. We're clicking on all cylinders in this episode. Because, when you look at Tyler Glass now, like, yes, he could be a player of the week. You could give it to Teoscar, based on, he's getting home runs and, he's doing what the Dodgers got him for, right?
Which was RBIs.
Exactly. And he's doing that.
He's in the top 2 or 3 in MLB.
Yeah. But I think James Paxton, I like where he's at. Keep flying under the radar and keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, what is this? I think somebody opened their door into the bullpen cart and dinked it. What in the world? Well, that's all right. We'll just have to get that fixed. But in the meantime, bullpen cart music. That was in parentheses, by the way, just so you knew what was going on. We're gonna hit the road and take a look around baseball. And as we do most weeks, we start off with the players of the week, MLB style.
Players of the week are Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers and Eddie Rosario of the Washington Nationals. Marcus Semien had batted .419, had 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 8 runs in 7 games. And Eddie Rosario of the Nationals batted .467, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 7 runs in 5 games. So a little different mix-up.
Yeah, a couple of teams that haven't been represented yet this year. Semien, you would almost have expected to hear almost any week last season, along with Corey Seager and other Rangers because they were just on top of it. But yeah, that's cool. So before we get too much farther down the path here, why don't we take a look at the NCAA rankings as we get ever closer. We're about a month away from Omaha, and let's talk a little bit about that. And I don't know what you saw, but what I saw is that while I would say they dominate 2 conferences, not only dominate the top 25, but they super dominate the top 10.
Yeah, Tennessee stays in that number 1 ranking. Kentucky comes in at number 2. Then Arkansas, Clemson, Texas A&M rounds out the top 5. Then you have Oregon State, North Carolina, Wake Forest. They're at number 8. Last week they were at 12. Georgia moved up to 9. They were at 15. And Florida State is number 10.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? ACC and SEC, with the exception of Oregon State. The rest of them are all in those 2 conferences.
So we're getting closer to regionals and those super regionals. But yeah, it will be interesting to see. SEC, will it be all SEC, ACC in Omaha? I don't know. We'll see.
Good question. Probably not, but they will probably dominate, as
Yes.
Has been the case in the last few years. This time last year, we were talking about, and we just talked about him the other day. Last week, we talked about one of last year's College World Series heroes, Paul Skenes from LSU, was right on the edge of making his debut. And that did happen this last Saturday. You had an interesting. You sent me a text about him, and I thought that was pretty interesting about a parallel between him and Steven Strasburg. And then we could talk about what they said about his appearance. I've got, I think, a differing view than what was reported.
If we're talking about, before we get to his outing and how it went, Steven Strasburg made his MLB debut 14 years ago, and the Pirates' leadoff hitter was Andrew McCutchen. When Paul Skenes made his MLB debut, the Pirates' leadoff hitter is Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen, yep, Kutch.
But
that's pretty interesting, and in 2 different parts of Kutch's career.
Yeah. So top pitching prospect, there was a 2-hour, 20-minute rain delay. Pirates issued 6 bases loaded walks in the 5th inning. Skenes was a bit more wild with his fastball, and he was only able to go 4+ innings on 84 pitches. The Pirates do come out of this game victorious. They win 10-9. But his
there was
command,
a couple things. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. He said his command of the fastball wasn't where. I guess it wasn't as sharp. Actually, that wasn't him. That was Derek Shelton, who said what we've seen from him, it wasn't as sharp. And, but the crowd was excited to be there. They were filling the stands. They were there an hour or so before the game started to see his debut. And he does strike out 7, and he tops 100 miles per hour 17 times in his debut.
So that was, I think, the thing that got people excited, that 17 times. But that is something that we've talked about, that overthrowing the ball. I was just reading a story about Ben Joyce, Angels player, who was the first one to throw a pitch in college ball that was like 105 or something. We know that over-torquing the arm and too much spin, things like that have been part of the arm issues. Being excited that this guy is throwing over 117 times in an outing, that he only went 4 innings in, got a 6.75 ERA, and people, it was a spectacular outing. Why? Because he threw over 100? Well, Ben Joyce came out, threw over 100. Where's he at? He's in Double-A. Now, I'm not saying that Paul Skenes isn't going to come around, and if he's with a team that's got room, has got runway length for him, Pittsburgh's it. Pittsburgh, is at the bottom of the pile. They're not playing great. But like I said, in those 4 innings, He gave up a home run. He did strike out 7, hit somebody, which hopefully it wasn't with one of those 100-mile, plus pitches. His whip was at 2. Anything over about 1.2 is bad. Home runs or hits per 9 innings. He would give up 13 hits over 9 innings. Home runs over 9 innings. He would give up just over 2 home runs per 9 innings. He's not really, there's just too many things yet. Obviously it's his first time and they really need to work with him. He needs to get, his, worked in there, learn how to pitch at this level. Because even Walker Buehler, who we were just talking about, has said, it's not that I'm not pitching, it's the competition level. It's these things. There's certain things that are beyond just throwing the ball that you have to get yourself back into that game. So he's coming from having been there and now trying to get past the injury. This guy's coming up as he was a college player last year. Now he's got to figure out, how does it play? It doesn't matter what you did in AAA or AA. This is a different beast. And the jump from AAA to AA, depending on the teams, if you come in and you come to the Pirates and you play the White Sox, that may be a pretty even matchup. If you come to the Pirates and then you go pitch against the Dodgers or the Braves or the Yankees, it's going to be a lot harder on you.
Well, another thing too is I know it's exciting. Oh, wow. He threw 100 miles per hour, these 17 times. But I think the Pirates need to look at that too and want to protect him maybe from himself, because he could very well throw 100 miles an hour, but will he be, having surgery in the near future and not be playing next season because he is, is he the wear and tear on his arm that he's going to have? So I think the Pirates need to protect the investment.
They absolutely do. And that's the thing that, when you look at it, it's like, where are they looking at? He threw 84 pitches in that game. When you look at it, it's like, well, we want to get people in the park. Is this going to get people excited to come to the park? Are they going to play towards the baseball side of things? Or are they going to play towards the entertainment and the business side of things?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is going to want to throw that to get that notoriety. The Pirates are going to want that because it also helps them everywhere they go. Not only at home do people show up for the games, but then there's going to be more that show up on the road. Right.
Yeah, they're going to want to see him.
I don't know. I think that I think people got overexcited about what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that this is the great outing.
No.
The spectacular outing that so many people were reporting it to be.
Right. And I think sometimes because you wanted it to be a spectacular outing, it wasn't. So you take those and say, okay, well, what was the best part of this outing? And we're going to emphasize the heck out of it. And just, he went 4 innings, but that's not important. He threw 17 pitches at 100 miles per hour. He did this. And so people see that and they want you to focus on that and not focus on 4 innings, 84 pitches.
Bright and shiny things.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. They just not willing to see that. And like you said, a couple seasons, and maybe next season, maybe by the end of this season, he'll be, having Tommy John surgery or shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
I think Ben Joyce, after he had come up and was trying to throw hard like that, had shoulder issues. And I was like, we got to watch that. Knowing that he wanted to do that, that was the first thing I said. You need to dial that in and teach him actually how to pitch. Teach him how to be Greg Maddux before you let him try to be Nolan Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, we go from one pitcher who was throwing 100 miles per hour to another pitcher who had a no-hitter earlier in the season. And we're still early in the season.
What did we just say earlier? About a month into the season?
Yeah.
A full month?
But this time he's in the right place and the right team to be a cheater. Ronel Blanco.
Ronel Blanco.
Ronel, yeah. He was ejected at the start.
Of the no-hitter earlier this season?
Yes. The Asterix pitcher. He was ejected at the start of the fourth inning of a 2-1 win over the A's. They checked his glove. They checked him. They check the pitchers at, usually first inning. Then they'll check him periodically throughout the game. It's not every time they come off the mound. First inning, they don't find anything. Nothing's on his hands. He's good. Nothing's on the glove. But during the fourth inning, check his glove again, and the umpires found a foreign substance that one of the umpires said, "This is the stickiest stuff I've felt on a glove since we have been checking. We've been doing these checks." Mm-hmm. Now, Blanco says he didn't have any substance, and he said it was rosin.
Wait, I thought you said you didn't have any substance. Even if it's rosin, rosin is a substance. I know it's a legal substance. However, how about this? People never get this. What is there's a commercial here for a DUI lawyer here in LA. And he always says, do you and your lawyer a favor and exercise your right to shut up. And when they come out, if he says, he should just say, "I'm only using rosin." And that's the end of it. Don't say, "I'm not using anything." And if you do say, "I'm not using anything," don't mention the rosin. Just shut up. It's not a reviewable thing. They're going to look at it. That one umpire had to come out and make a statement about it. Let it go. Just shut up.
That's right.
Save yourself.
Well,
stop talking.
He didn't. And he has a 10-game suspension. He will not appeal. 10 games, the Astros will be without him. And his glove was sent to MLB headquarters to be analyzed in the lab, in the laboratory.
The laboratory. That's right. It is alive. The glove gets up, starts playing catch with itself.
That's right. And I know that this is not your favorite segment of the show, but you're going to have to get used to it because next consecutive weeks we will have Jana's Fashion Corner.
Fashion Fever.
All right. This time it is the Cleveland Guardians who will be debuting their City Connects every Friday home games this season. So tomorrow they'll be wearing these new City Connects, and they celebrate the city of Cleveland. How about that? What a novel idea. City Connect for Cleveland.
And I noticed that they're incorporating their socks.
Yes.
Which not a lot of teams have done that.
Yeah. The socks are pretty cool. So it's what the Guardians say is it's bridging the past with the present. The braiding on the jersey and the pants pays homage to iconic early 1990s uniforms that are loved by fans. The texture of the jersey is a sandstone color of the pants and the architectural design of the CLE, which is Art Deco, and the number is Art Deco style. They're all a tribute to the Guardians of Traffic statues. And of course, that's how they got their name. Those statues are there is the Guardian Traffic. There's a bridge, and those Guardians of Traffic are right there at the bridge near the ballpark. They maintained the color scheme of the red, white, and blue, but they adjusted the shades to be a bit richer in the uniform. Inside the neck reads 1901, which is the year the team was founded. And the jock tag says the land. And I didn't know this, so I learned something new today. A common nickname for the greater Cleveland area. They call it the land. The land. So Cleveland, the land. And the Guardian logo is on the socks, and I think that's my favorite part of the whole City Connect are the statues, the Guardians.
I think that overall, it looks like a baseball uniform. I like the piping on the sleeves, and the pants. That's pretty cool. The CLE on the front is cool. You know, I can take it or leave it. That's all right. The numbering's fine. My problem with the hat is that white face,
right?
You know, on the front. I'd like it just to be all one color. But you know, I don't have to wear them. But Josh Naylor, when he saw them, said, "Can we wear these every home game?"
Yeah,
he liked them a lot.
Well, and there were others that are like, these are beautiful. Now, is that a true quote? Because I don't know. Are they really beautiful?
Oh, I don't know about that, but they seem to like them. So.
They do seem to like them. But so tune in to the Guardians game tomorrow for their debut, and of course after that they will wear them every home game on Fridays.
I think they could even take those and wear those blue jerseys on the road.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And remember, you can go to siblingrivalrybb.com, hit the Fanatics link, and get yourself any of the new Cleveland gear, whether you just want some socks, you want a jersey. I'm sure they'll have T-shirts that match up with that, and those hats to help celebrate your Cleveland fandom. What I also like about it is that even though they did the Guardians in on the socks,
mm-hmm.
in order to tie, like you had said, to tie the past into the future by not making it Guardian centric. You know, a lot of people still call the Cleveland the Indians, just because they were that for so long. So having that overlap by not, somehow putting like instead of just having the C on the hat, putting the Guardian on the hat, let's say, it allows it to carry over and be committal to one part of the history or the other. And I think that's a good marketing move on their part.
Yeah, most definitely. So next week, coming up in Jana's Fashion Corner, we will look at the St. Louis Cardinals and what their city connects. Because the Cardinals already have an iconic jersey. And how will they make, what will the city connect? How will it look? How will it be received? I don't know. We'll tell you our thoughts next week with the St. Louis Cardinals.
And just a quick note from ePay's betting quarter. What do you think the over/under is that the arch is incorporated into this?
I think, I don't know. I I know it's going to be incorporated.
So you figure that's the over. It will
that's
be.
a over, yeah. Right. You see, I didn't even
Okay.
know the term. So
you know what? I'm probably using it wrong. That's why I just hear them on the radio or on TV.
Right.
I know what it is. It's like, will the player do this? So like you could bet on Paul Scanes. Will he throw over 17 100-mile-an-hour pitches or under 17 in his next outing? I saw one where they were like talking about the guy didn't know what he wanted to do, and everybody's like, oh no, that'd be the under. And then somebody there said that no, he said his mom's coming to the game and he always scores more when his mom comes to the game.
Right.
And now I'm going to take the over. So
Yeah,
that one's easy, I get, but like when I see those, plus 500, minus 500, I don't know.
I don't know, but I do want to take I do want to take the over on the Arch being incorporated somewhere in the City Connects for St. Louis, but I will tell you all about them next week.
And this has been ePay's Betting Corner. Which, since I brought him up, apparently in a procedural move that he went for these bank fraud and all this stuff, these other charges, because he's already pleaded guilty on another charge. On this one, he pleaded not guilty, but that's to set up his plea bargain.
Right.
And we'll know more about that sometime in June.
Mm-hmm. And we'll bring it all to you.
Right after ePay's Betting Corner and the City Connect fashion statement with Jana.
That's right.
All right. Well, another thing and this is probably why the NFL has this as part of their betting lines and everything, and it's one of the most important things that you can find out on a Sunday before the games, is who is on the wheel of I thought you were going to join in with me there. It's not.
No, I didn't know where to jump in. Sorry.
We could have done it. You could have just jumped in anywhere. We could have done it in the round.
Oh, that's right. Should have done it in the round. All right. Jung-Hoo Lee, San Francisco outfielder.
Oh, yeah. Their big signing of the offseason.
Big signing. He dislocated his shoulder in a game on Sunday when he crashed into the wall. And he's now on the 10-day IL, but he has suffered. The Giants have come out and said that he has suffered structural damage in his dislocated left shoulder. He will be getting a second opinion. And can you guess who that second opinion is going to come from?
Neil Atrash?
Yes.
I think he just didn't want to play the Dodgers.
I can't do it. How can I get out of it?
Right.
Austin Riley is listed as day-to-day. He did exit Sunday's game with soreness on his side, and MRI revealed that there was some inflammation. So they didn't put him on the IL at this point, but we're going to watch that. And Nico Horner is also listed as day-to-day with left hamstring tightness. Yency Almonte is on the 15-day IL with a shoulder injury. Kenta Maeda. Haven't heard about Kenta in a while, but he's on the 15-day IL with an illness. And there's some kind of illness going around because there's quite a few guys. I haven't listed all of them, but I noticed that, Luis Rengifo had an illness. It was a viral illness.
Right, yeah.
So who knows? This one, Tim Anderson is lower back tightness. He's on the 10-day IL. Rice Hoskins, 10-day IL with a right hamstring strain. Key Brian Hayes of the Pirates is out with a back injury. Mitch Garver and Jorge Polanco are both listed as day-to-day. They have some ailments. Not
Ailments?
sure.
What is
Ailment.
Ailment.
An ailment? I don't know. Why did I say that? Ailment.
I don't know. Only you know. He's got some ailments.
I don't know. They're not feeling well. They hurt somewhere. Alex Wood is on the 15-day IL with shoulder pain. He is going to be evaluated to see what it is. Is it more to it than just a pain? We shall see. And TJ Friedel of the Reds.
Yeah.
He had just come off of the IL. He had fractured his wrist. He comes back. He's back playing. He is back on the IL with a broken right thumb.
So broken wrist, now broken thumb.
Yes.
Crazy.
It's super crazy.
Friedel is just out of luck here, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, this season has not been good to him so far.
Has he been on the Anthony Rendon rehab plan, or
possibly? It is possible. We shall see. So I'll update on Lee, and of course we will see about those guys that are in the waiting room. Waiting, are they gonna get on the wheel? They're day to day. They're just hanging out in the waiting room, reading old magazines, which we need to do something about that. We need to get some updated People magazines in there.
Something like that. Or you know what? Do they still do highlights?
I think they do.
That was always a good magazine when you were in the doctor's office. Had some, provided other kids didn't do all of the puzzles and the games.
Right.
Yeah, that was
exactly.
Highlights was cool.
I do. I liked highlights. That was a good one.
And that'll do it. We're going to get the field ready for next week's edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We'll see if the Dodgers are able to take care of business with the Giants. We'll see what Ron Washington thinks about squeeze plays. And of course, we'll take a look around baseball and more. We appreciate you stopping by. Remember, you can find us online, siblingrivalrybb.com. Check out the Fanatics links to get yourself some new gear, whether it be baseball, whether it be Dodgers, Angels. Caitlin Clark, Fever jerseys, I'm sure are selling. She just made her debut in the WNBA. And so you can get that. You can get whatever you want from whatever team you want. You can even get Premier League stuff, football from the English Premier League. So that's all right there. You can find us on Twitter, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
So next time you want to listen to some siblings talking baseball in a unique way, check in with us, Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We're always here for you on your favorite listening platform. All 5 seasons are available. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to swing away.